Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. And let's face it, when we all started this day, we all said, hey, just win, baby. That's all that matters at this point here. I don't care if you blow a 50-point lead. As long as you get that W, that's all that matters. That's all anybody should worry about. Yes, tomorrow morning we'll be breaking down a whole bunch of things that I got issues with. But you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter the schemes. It doesn't matter the players. It doesn't matter this, that, and the other thing. The end of the day, you went on that field to get a win, and what did you get? You got a win, and holy cow, yeah, I get it. It didn't look good. It didn't look great. You can throw blame and shade at A, G, B, G, D, E, whoever you want to throw blame at. There's a lot of blame to go around, but at the end of the day, what we can say is this team, the Cardiac Cats, the Cardiac Pack, whatever you want to call them, they seem to find a way to do just enough to win. And I'll say this too. Bruce Irvin, I think this guy is going to be exactly what we thought he was going to be. He's not going to give you a ton of reps. He's not going to give you a ton of snaps, but 10 to 15, maybe in time, 18 snaps a game can get. I think you're going to get some positive plays out of him. You can also say this. James Houston comes back. Now you got those two. Hutchinson, a little bit of a rotation. Maybe Romeo Okwara can reignite the engines, whatever it is. But we did put a request out for the Sarge to join us. I'm assuming he'll get the invite and come on over here at some point. But as we can see, I've got to get a couple things before I get into the comment section. But hey, great win for Detroit. 9-3 for the first time since, I think, 1492. Yes, that's right. When they were the Portsmouth Lions back over in England. Yeah, that's how long it's been, man. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're about 20 subs away or so from 4,700. All right, let's get in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button. Phil, damn, what do? We celebrate, Phil. We celebrate because you know what? It doesn't matter. I see your next comment. Not a great performance by any means. And there's a lot of stuff I'll dive into in the morning show. You guys have probably heard my shtick by now. A lot of conservative play calling, especially once they got up. You could see the intermediate routes were the norm. No deep shots. And I don't know. We'll do a deep dive into that tomorrow, Phil, and everybody watching. Dr. Troy, I said 31-28 Lions. I was close. You were dead close. JDC, holy whoa. Yeah, exactly. Probably not the outcome we all wanted when we were up 21-0. But I'll say this. While we can all pick apart this team, I think we all should also say this is not a finished product as far as the regime rebuilding and stuff. It is very apparent. We do not have great stuff on the defensive side of the ball, especially on the line. Bruce Irvin might be one of the saving graces of this team. And again, if James Houston can come back as well. Phil, I'll say that, yeah, I get what you're saying, but we are 9-3. And that's where I was going to go next, Phil. We can all say what we want. We can all say, hey, this, that, and the other thing isn't great. It's not this, it's not that, whatever. But at the end of the day, look around the NFL. How many teams are 9-3? And we're not playing great. And we haven't in a long time. It seems like a real long time. But you know what? We're doing enough to get it done. Goff's been under fire for a couple weeks now, and his performances, I get it. They haven't been ideal. We also talked this week in Lions Talk Live. I thought this would be a week he would kind of reemerge, that maybe some of the things affecting him in recent weeks hopefully start dissipating. And I think, man, he played great today. I mean, some of those throws down the stretch, those are clutch throws. And if he's not here in Detroit, somebody else, if he finishes the year like this, somebody else is going to be giving that guy a contract. Because look around the NFL, there are 32 teams. On your fingers, on your toes, whatever you want, on a pad of paper, name 15 other quarterbacks better than Goff in the NFL right now. And I'm going to guess if you can get 15, it's more than likely you're coming up with 16 that are probably grossly different or below Goff standards right now. All right, Dr. Detroit. Yes, offense and defense was crappy after the first quarter. They were. In Dr. Detroit, like I was saying at the start, I thought we played incredibly conservative. Let me know what you guys think, but that's my take. Ben Johnson relied on short intermediate passes, and just like with the Bears, just like with the Packers, everybody was jumping on it, and I'm not going to give Goff too much grief over it because you can only execute the plays being called. Same with the receivers. You can only run the routes you're being given. And I'm going to say this, Ben Johnson, I was having a chat during the game with the Sarge, Tony Libretto, about it. And I was saying, man, oh man, and the Sarge threw it out there as well, that this might be costing him a chance to be a head coach, because he has got to start evolving himself and the offense to go further. I get, okay, Scoresdale, you're trying to protect him. Yes, it's clear he's a work in progress, I guess is what we can say at guard. And you're probably going to have to go with him for a while, because I'm going to guess Frank the Tank is going to be out for more than a minute. So, but you're going to have to get something going down the field to give defenses something to fear other than the flats, which they were all over anytime we try to run a screen, and obviously downfield route or intermediate routes. Bergs, boom, 9-3, all that matters. 100% agree. You can be the worst coach in the world, but you know what? You get enough wins, you're doing something other people aren't. And I'm not saying our coaching staff's bad or anything. I'm just saying at the end of the day, you're paid to get wins. It doesn't matter how they look, and you got them. You've got 3 wins. You only got 3 losses. 2 of those losses are incredibly close, so take it with a grain of salt. Michael, AG is not good. Michael Jordan. I'm going to say this, man. Watching that line more and more, I don't agree with as much zone coverage because teams are picking us apart. But I will also say this, and you guys can have your take, but I think if we go man too much, we don't have corners that can cover. And I'm going to say this. You do not want Tracy Walker out there trying to make a living covering people. So some of it, I will say, maybe Aaron Glenn is making the best out of a bad situation. There's not much pass rush. You don't have great corners. One of your safeties is not ideal in coverage. So at some point, you only got so many parts to work with. All right, Trey, good one for the team. Absolutely. If they would have blown this, man, I think you would have probably had a 3rd loss in Chicago. But now I'm going to say this. You coming into next week in Chicago, you get that win. Minnesota, they've got to win out across the board to have any chance to get the NFC North. Pierce, what do you got? Bruce Irvin, I like him. Yeah. And again, as long as they don't overload this dude, I think he got something making here between him, Hutch, and Hutch does need he needs a bit of a break, man. He looks, and we've talked about Alliance Talk Live, he looks incredibly worn down and tired. He's going to need a little time to revitalize. But if you can get Irvin going, James Houston, hopefully we get some good news about him Tuesday and go from there. Dr. Detroit, I agree, 9-3. Rather be lucky than good any day. Absolutely. Because, just like the NFL is so crazy, and talking to some coaching friends of mine during the game, it's one of the most unique sports out there. Think about, and I'll just use this as an example, the Brian Branch tip. In most other sports, that's a good defensive play. But the fact he tips it takes away, more than likely, if not a pick six, a real deep interception return, which takes points away from New Orleans and probably gives points to Detroit. So the NFL and football as a whole really is a game of inches. All right, Phil, I took to drinking. Yeah. If I didn't have to coach this evening, I would probably have a beverage. Bergs, 2 marrow, and we talk flaws. Yeah. And tomorrow we'll talk the flaws. Yep, I agree. I'm not going to do anything other than say, hey, Goff showed some real cojones today. And I will say this for the coaching staff, and he's backed them up the vast majority of his time in Detroit. When the game's been on the line, they've given him the freedom to throw them to wins, and he's done it. All right, Dave, what do you got? I'm sending my cardiologist bills to the Lions to pay. Yeah, it might not be a bad idea. Phil, Bruce was great. For his first game, it's hard to really, fault him on anything. I get the roughing the passer call. He's been in the league too long, but I also get his first game back in a while. He's probably a little juiced. He's, got a lot of adrenaline going through him. But, man, he got there, and he did provide some sorely, sorely needed pass rush. All right, Joseph, go Lions. Now we need the Niners to lose. Agreed. Chrome, 9-3. Woo, baby. Absolutely. My best. Woo! Ric Flair right there, baby. Bergs, Irvin played well. He did. And I'm going to say something to Dr. Detroit in a second. JDC, all I can say is nice weather we're having. Fair enough, man. Dr. Detroit, cardiac cats, do it again. And you know what? I think you might have to go out and help Bruce Irvin delay the payments on his AARP card, because he was money today, man. Doug Goff held his own. He did. He might not have been the answer, but again, down the stretch, the Lions coaching staff showed that they have faith in him. And once again, he rewarded him. Pierce, Irvin, exactly what we need. Agreed. But if you're going to over rely on him, you're going to wear him down. So again, I really think they've got to try to come up with 1, maybe 2 more answers out there, because of nothing else. You've got a rotation building. You've got some potential there. 9 drinks. Woo! Exactly. Bergs, Laporta is a beast. And what a performance. I mean, what he's doing out there, it's just I can say I've covered the NFL in one capacity or another for 25 plus years, whatever, and you just never seen anything like it from a rookie. You watch his footwork, and I get the commentators are mentioning his hips and stuff. I'll say this: watch his hips with his elbows. You want to see if a dude can get in and out of a break without really costing himself any momentum. Watch that guy. He uses his momentum from his upper body to help his lower body get in and out of those Z cuts in a hurry. And that's why he's such a pain in the butt to guard. So you get what I was about to say. Joseph, I hope Ragnow gets better, especially before Dallas plays us. Yeah. And because our line, when they're out there, they are dominant. But we can also say when Scoresdale or some of the other backups at guard especially come in, we're vastly different. MJ, what do you got? Irvin needs more playing time. They're in a tough spot there because you're 100% right. He is the answer to a lot of their problems, at least based on what we saw today. The problem is if you give him too much of a workload, he's going to be Hutchinson. He's going to be worn down and just less and less effective. So I think you're going to really have to have him on a pitch count, so to speak, to protect him from himself. J-Mo keeps coming along. But man, oh man, I'm begging and screaming throughout that game, especially when you're up 21-0. That's the time to get aggressive. Take your deep shots. Because you know what? If you fail, you're still up 21-0. I'm not a big fan of pulling off the brakes and just trying to eat up clock. Maybe in the fourth quarter when you're up 21 points. I get that. You can control the game, but not in the first quarter or the second quarter. Jason, why are we struggling against bad teams? I shake my head. Some of it is, the difference, in my opinion, and take this for what you want. The difference between a lot of teams in the NFL are really just a couple plays. You look at the Eagles, they're 9-1, but think about this season, how many of their games really do come down to just a couple plays here and there. They could just as easily be 500 or below 500. You could say the same for the Lions. They're getting the breaks that give them wins, where if those breaks go against them, they're probably not even 500 at this point. Bergs, what do you got? Very happy for JMO. Agreed. Yeah, 100%. Scott, 21 in the first 7 minutes. Felt like a smooth ride, and then it was all stress. Why didn't someone tell me this in the chat? Nothing is a cakewalk in the NFL. I see who you're calling out there. Yes. Don, I'm sure will be in the comment section at some point. One funky Goff made 3 nice throws and moved well in the pocket twice. Not a good, barely mid. Bruce Irvin gets my game ball because Winston stinks. Yes, he probably. I get Winston had the one tip pass that could have been a pick 6 or whatever, but Winston, in fairness to him, you didn't probably get a lot of the first string reps throughout the week, and probably his case probably in weeks, and now you're coming in, you're not even really warmed up or anything. Game's on the line. I feel bad for him, but you know what? Good for him. I feel bad for him after this game, which it is. So, hey, go out and do whatever from here on out. All right, Dash, what do you got? O-line looked like a hit today. Glad they pulled it out. Yeah, when Frank the Tank went out, yeah, you could see it was a whole lot different. Doug, what do you got? I like that Hutch was out resting while we got a sack. It's time for breaks. Yeah, they've got to, especially if they're going to retry to energize him going to the playoffs, they're going to have to give him some snaps off, and they're going to have to do everything they can, especially in practices, to remove some stress and wear from him, because he does look like he's been worn down to the nub, man, and I feel bad for him, but he'll be able to recover in the offseason. But you got to now think about the postseason and finishing out the regular season. Get him some rest, take some wear on him, let him get ready. Phil, might drink whiskey. Holy bully. Yeah, I get you, man. And if I'd be joining you maybe later today. Pierce, yes, JMO with the reverse. We need more of that. We need more of JMO, period, because we need some guys that can pull the defense further out and open up some of the intermediate routes. The Saints, we talked about it before in the week that they play some pretty good coverage, and they did a good job on the vast majority of our offensive weapons. I get that Laporta, though, he was a matchup nightmare for him today, and give the kid credit. He's come a long way. Laporta, rookie of the year, he's making a pretty strong case for at least offensive rookie of the year, isn't he, brother Ken? That catch by Laporta on the previous third down was incredible, incredibly tough and clutch. The throw Goff made on the last third down under intense pressure was absolutely amazing. Yeah, the way I know a couple of you guys pointed out, the way he stepped up into the pocket he moved a lot more fluidly than he had in any other game that I can remember, including that pass to Montgomery on the previous drive on third down. That's not typical Goff. So they've clearly worked on some of his mechanics and his reads out of stress and duress when the protection breaks down. Today he was stepping up in the pocket, trying to buy that extra half second or so. Dr. Detroit, 1492. Yeah, that's when I began covering this team. Just kidding, man. Steve, what I got? A win is a win, but I get the D is absolutely garbage. We definitely need a ton of help. Yeah, they do, and they're going to have to do it in the offseason. They probably realistically, unless Houston and CJ come back, which hopefully they both do, because I'll say this, with CJ Gardner out there, I think you can play more man-to-man, but I think you cannot – there's just not enough help to put around to help mask Tracy Walker in coverage, and hate to say it, but Jerry Jacobs. Jerry Jacobs was never meant to be a number 2 cornerback. He was meant to be a number 3 or 4 option for this team. But unfortunately, because of injuries to Emmanuel Mosley and Gardner Johnson, he's out there, and we can all say he's not great, but you know what? He's better than anybody else he got. So I think that's why Aaron Glenn's hand, I'm giving him some I'm not trying to come on Aaron Glenn as hard as I could at other times, because the more you watch the schemes teams are running against us, they know we can't play any man coverage. And when we do, it's just there's too many holes because you don't have guys that can cover. And I guess pick your poison how you're going to die. Great Lakes. This team is going to give me a stroke. Yep. But hopefully, because we're winning, you can bear that a little bit easier. Chrome Jets benched Boyle. Well, I don't think anybody who's a Lions fan is surprised by that. Doug, a win helps all week, but we need an OL. Yeah. And I think, we've talked about on Lions Talk Live a lot. I do think, I hate to say it, but one of the top 3 needs of this team going forward after this year is going to be interior offensive line, whether it's guard or center or somebody who can play both, but they're probably going to have to do it. Now, the good news is you can get usually very good interior offensive linemen in the latter part of the first, or if we're lucky and we really win out here in the postseason in the early part of the second round. Laporta is elite. Yeah, I think the more he does stuff, the more it's going to be hard to say this kid, even though he's a rookie, and I hate putting that jazz on a rookie, but it's hard not to say he's not elite. I mean, where's the flaw in him? His run blocking is actually pretty dang good, and his route running just seems to be getting better and better and better. You go back and watch that Green Bay game. They don't have linebackers on them. They have safeties and corners, and a lot of times on obvious third downs, they've got a corner on him. So that shows you the type of respect they have for his ability to run routes and catch. All right, Great Lakes, we have to get our stuff together in the third quarter. I agree. No Gibbs. Hey, I think some of the problem with the running game today was, and I'm not trying to be rude to the kid, but Scoresdale, it's just he's not ready to start in any NFL team. But the unfortunate part for the Detroit Lions is there's nobody else. And there's nobody I think you can go out and get him free agency who's going to be able to help out. So you're going to have to coach him up, because realistically, I'm guessing Ragnow's out at least a week or 2. So he ain't going anywhere. You're going to have to coach him up. Otherwise, the running game is going to be affected along with the play action, the passing, et cetera, et cetera. Doug, what do you got? Laporta, best tight end since Charlie Sanders? Yeah, I'd say as far as Lions, I mean, David Sloan was not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but Laporta is way better than Sloan was, even in his heyday. Phil, maybe even smoking. Yes. Yeah, I'll leave that to you, man. JP, they are winning road games. That is hard. It is. And, say what you want. We can all pick apart the bad stuff, and I'll get on some of that and go over it with everybody in tomorrow's morning show. But today I'm just going to say this. Let's focus and embrace the fact we're 9-3. It's too much of a part of all of our psychology, I think, as Lions fans to say, all right, let's forget the part we're 9-3. Let's start, chopping people down because of this, that. Hey, we're 9-3 with problems and a lot of rookie kids, a lot of young second-year kids and third-year kids who are out there playing. And you know what? You're still 9-3. All right. Woo! Just for you, Rich, man. All right, Phil, I got buy some diapers. Yeah, I think most of Metro Detroit's probably running out of them right now. You may want to use eBay. Mr. Nico, a win is a win, but we shouldn't be impressed by that win. I don't see us getting a playoff win. The coaching was rough. Let's be consistent and not hope the other team for slip-ups. I get it, man. But at the end of the day, again, we've got a very young team, inexperienced coaching staff. you're pretty limited from a personnel standpoint on the defensive side of the ball. The only thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it until I'm done, I guess, being a host or whatever, I'm not a fan of passive play calling, conservative play calling. You get somebody down, you beat them down even more. You're up 21 points. That's the time for the flea flickers. That's the time for the deep shots. Pour it on when you get a chance. Because you know what? Not only do you get the other team to quit, but you can take away all sorts of offensive options from them. If they want to run the ball and they're down 35-0 in the third, God bless them. Because you know what? I'll let you have 3, 4, 5 yards a carry because that clock's going to keep on ticking. All right, Dash, what do you got? Money and Gibbs are killing me on my fantasy team. Sorry about that, man. All right, Doug Irvin caused a penalty too. Yeah, and he did. I mean, so far, it's hard to say you got any fault with him. I'd be trying to get one more piece, though, for that defensive line because it would help out. And I would also say Marcus Peters, I'd be calling him up because you need some more depth out there. It's been I've been begging for a run by J-Mo since he first went like 30 yards against the Bears, and they did. And home deserved delivered with a TD. Yeah, and I don't know why they're not using him more because to me, he's clearly improved a ton in many different ways. I don't know if they're trying to hold out or something, but it's time to unleash the guy you got, that weapon you got, and he is a weapon. Great Lakes State guys, any armchair QB can see they took their foot off the gas. Why? I don't know, and that's where they need to grow up as a coaching staff. Again, you get them down big, you get them on the ropes. That's when you go for the knockout. You don't sit back and let them recover. You try to put them through the mat. Yeah, I knew what you meant, man, about J-Mo. Yeah, I get you, Dave. Brother Ken, all I want for Christmas is a beast defensive end. Well, and hopefully you're talking about 2024 because I don't think we're getting one in 2023. But it would help if you could unwrap that present for the Lions. Doug, J-Mo proved he is dangerous. He is 100%. He's a weapon. Use him. One funky. Goff was not throwing the ball well. They couldn't afford to take a deep shot. Maybe, man, but you got to do something to pull that bracket coverage off those sidelines and open up other options for you. So I like I said, I'll do a deeper dive in the morning. Kate, ugly win. We didn't deserve, but hey, I'll take it. Yeah, I would too, man. I'll never make an apology as a coach for a win. I don't care what anybody wants to say. You did more than what they did. That's what I would say at the end of the day. Your team did more good than the other team could. So, at some point we do have to blame the Saints too for not, they fell behind 21, but take the wins when you get them. Phil, David Pike got me all fired up. It happens, man. AG is terrible. Thomas, you might be right. You might be wrong. I have no idea, man, because I will just say this. I'm going to focus on the good today at least. Dr. Troy, we came out hot and then cooled off like we got hit in the face with dry ice. I think, I know a couple of you guys have mentioned it. We pulled off the gas or put off the gas, whatever, and I think that's a lot of it. Burrs, Goff came up big when it mattered most. He did. One funky J-Mo fast. I mean, real fast. I mean, really, really fast. Yeah, I mean, I was telling Jen about it in the GF. I think there's probably only one, maybe two dudes in the entire NFL with his kind of speed, and I'm betting there's really only one other. So you got at some point you got to start using it. Doug, with OL hurting, offensive line hurting, everyone needs to step up. They do. Kate the Great, what do you got? Those two last first down saved us 100%. And give the coaching staff enough faith to tell Goff, hey, we believe in you. Go get it. Great point there, Kate. Dave, what do you got? Anything can happen in the playoffs, especially if we have Houston and CJ Deuce back by then. Agree that this defense would be a whole lot different if all of a sudden now you can play more man coverage and you've got multiple guys who can get to the quarterback. Ben H., what do you got? Still not pleased with a personal foul call. The game is really getting really soft when a perfect form tackle is deemed dangerous. Yeah, and I think you're doing a disservice to the defenders because you're telling him, go hit the quarterback. He doesn't hit him too high, too low, but now you're asking him, okay, I need you to hit him, but now I need you to roll to your left or your right while going full speed and making contact enough where he can't get out of a tackle. So it's tough, man. Phil, there have been a lot of teams that won ugly. A lot, yeah. And there's been a lot that lose ugly, too. I'd rather be the one that wins. Great point there, Philly. All right, Great Lakes, what do you got? Penalty on Irvin was garbage. I get the rule, but trying to contort a 250-pound body in full sprint, there's intentional and there's incidental. that was not intentional, in my opinion. I agree with you, man. I thought it was BS, but I also get that's how they're going to call it. Goff was good. Yes, he was money down the stretch there. All right, one or two more, and then it's time for me to go. I got to get ready for coaching. JDC, go Lions. Yep, brother Ken. Marty Schottenheimer was known for playing not to lose by being conservative during a tight game. Yeah, no Marty Ball. And yeah, I agree. He might be the best coach that I've seen that never won it, and a lot of that is because he did his team's disservices by not going for knockout punches. Not service, that was a legit penalty. I would agree with that. So, you know, what else can you say, man? I'm not a fan of that rule, but it is the rule. Goff was shaky, hot, and cold. Yeah, I agree with that. But you know what? When the game's on the line, he came up big, Dr. D. Mr. William H. AG is trash. Simply put, this isn't a playoff team. Sorry, boys. Maybe next year. You know, they get to the playoffs this year. Maybe they can do something, especially if they get the number 2 seed. We'll have to wait and see. Phil, 4-man front ain't working on defense. No, we can't get enough pressure, in my opinion. But maybe Irvin can help with that. Doug, what do you got? We need Ragnow really showed. Just think if Jonah was not in there. Yeah, we'd be in real trouble on that offensive line. Frank, what do you got? Great mobility by Goff today. Yeah, hard to believe we're saying that, but it's true. Dr. Detroit, the defense is ranked 32 in the league. What do you want? Exactly. I mean, I think they don't have enough athletes up front, and I think their corners, like I said, I get Jerry Jacobs was never meant to be the starter. They're going to have to, in my opinion, if I had to put together a grocery list for next year's draft, it's probably defensive end 1, probably cornerback 1B, and then interior offensive line. You know, which order you're going to draft them, I think it just comes down to best player available that fits your needs at those spots. But they're going to either in free agency or the draft have to address those 3 areas because I think the rest of the team's not bad. I know we all came into this game worried about Jack Campbell or wanting more information about him. Could he do this or that? I don't think he played bad today at all by any means. He wasn't perfect, but he's also a rookie that doesn't get nearly as many snaps as some of the other guys. You know, Branch, I think, played very well. Laporta, I don't think I have to mention it, but he played very well. You know, Gibbs wasn't his best game, but wasn't bad. I think he could have been better if the offensive line would have been better. And then Campbell, say what you want, but I think he keeps developing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. It's been a day, and I got to get ready for coaching. So if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. Hope you all have a great one. Let's go all cheer on Philadelphia or whatever else on the rooting guide list. If you're around tomorrow morning, we do Lions Talk Live every day of the week. That's right, 7 days a week, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until roughly 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care. Enjoy your day. Go celebrate that win. We'll see you on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.